Laughter echoed throughout the lakeside resort at the exact moment Ryan Carter was being treated as if he were invisible within his own family. No one knew that just a few hours later, the very man they looked down on would become the most important person there. The late afternoon sunlight cast a soft golden glow across the lake. Elegant banquet tables had been arranged perfectly along the marina. Business owners, investors, and local officials arrived one after another for the grand reopening celebration of the Carter family's luxury resort. Victoria Carter moved effortlessly through the crowd, with the confidence of a successful woman. She had always known how to command attention. When one of the guests asked who would inherit the resort in the future, Victoria smiled and placed a hand on Melissa's shoulder. "My daughter. She's the one who understands business better than anyone in the family." Melissa smiled proudly. Meanwhile, Ryan was carrying additional chairs toward the dock area. A few guests glanced at him before immediately looking away. In their eyes, Ryan was nothing more than event staff. Melissa stepped closer to her group of friends and let out a soft laugh. "My brother prefers water rescue work over running a business." Her voice carried a subtle layer of mockery, carefully disguised behind a smile. Several people chuckled along. Victoria did nothing to stop it. Her silence carried more weight than any words of agreement ever could. Ryan heard every word, but he didn't react. Years of experience had taught him that arguing rarely changes the way people choose to see you. He continued working as though none of those comments existed. Yet Ryan's eyes never stopped observing. It was a habit built through years of rescue work. He had learned to notice the things other people missed. An unusual walk, a strained breath, a fleeting expression crossing someone's face. That was when his attention settled on a man standing near the edge of the marina. It was Mayor Daniel Brooks. The mayor appeared calm as he spoke with several donors. But Ryan noticed something no one else seemed to see. The mayor's hand repeatedly pressed against his chest. His breathing was becoming increasingly shallow. The color was slowly draining from his face. A feeling of unease flickered through Ryan's mind. He set down the tray of drinks. Then he started walking toward the man, completely unaware that within the next few minutes, everything about that evening was about to change forever. Ryan had only taken a few steps when everything happened. Mayor Daniel Brooks suddenly lost his balance. The glass slipped from his hand and crashed onto the stone pavement. The sharp sound of shattering glass cut through Victoria Carter's speech. For one brief moment, the entire party fell silent. Then chaos erupted. Some people screamed. Others hurriedly stepped back. No one truly knew what to do. Victoria stood frozen on the stage. Melissa was so shocked she could not say a single word. Only Ryan kept moving forward. He dropped to his knees beside the mayor, checking for responsiveness, checking his breathing. Everything happened so quickly that many guests could not even understand what was unfolding before their eyes. "Call emergency services now." Ryan's voice rang out with calm authority. He was no longer the son who had been looked down on just minutes earlier. No longer the quiet man working unnoticed near the marina. At that moment, he was the only person in complete control of the situation. The crowd immediately followed his instructions. Ryan began the rescue procedures with absolute focus. Every movement was precise. Every decision was deliberate. His calmness spread through the crowd like an invisible wave. Just then, a silver-haired man stepped forward from the back of the gathering. He was a retired Coast Guard commander. He watched Ryan for a few seconds before giving a slight nod. "Excellent work. I worked with him years ago." He took part in storm rescue missions that many others were unwilling to accept. His words left several guests stunned. They looked at Ryan with entirely different eyes. For the first time that evening, they realized that the man his own family had underestimated possessed skills and courage that none of them could match. A few tense minutes passed. Then a weak breath appeared. Then another. A collective sigh of relief swept across the marina. Even Victoria could not take her eyes off her son. And for the first time in many years, she began to see who Ryan truly was. When the ambulance finally left the resort, no one had the desire to return to conversations about investments or profits. Before you go, take a moment to think about this story. The atmosphere had changed completely. How many people are judged every day simply because their success looks different from what others expect? The guests who had barely noticed Ryan earlier were now looking at him with genuine respect. Ryan spent years being overlooked, underestimated, and treated like he didn't matter. Yet when a life was on the line, titles, wealth, and status meant nothing. Character was what mattered most. Not because of anything the Carter family had said about him. If this story touched you, let us know in the comments. Would you have forgiven Ryan's mother? What would you have done in his place? But because of what they had just witnessed with their own eyes. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more powerful family drama stories with emotional twists and unforgettable life lessons. Ryan stood near the edge of the marina, quietly washing his hands. He was not seeking attention, nor was he waiting for praise. To him, saving someone's life had never been an opportunity to prove himself. It was simply his responsibility. The retired Coast Guard commander walked over. He gently placed a hand on Ryan's shoulder. "You haven't changed all these years. You're still the calmest person in the room when everything falls apart." Ryan responded with nothing more than a small smile. A short distance away, Victoria stood silently watching. For the first time in many years, she felt the foundations of her beliefs beginning to shift. She had always measured success through revenue, through business deals, through numbers on financial reports. But tonight, all of those things seemed insignificant compared to the moment a human life had been pulled back from the edge. Melissa remained silent as well. She remembered the jokes and dismissive comments she had made about her brother over the years. Now they sounded shallow and embarrassing. Victoria slowly walked toward Ryan. She looked at him for a long moment. There was no disappointment left in her eyes, no judgment, only regret. Perhaps for all these years, she had never truly understood her own son. Ryan looked back at his mother. He did not blame her. He did not ask for an apology. Because sometimes a change in the way someone sees you is worth more than any explanation they could ever offer. The sun slowly disappeared behind the lake. Ryan walked along the marina at an unhurried pace. For the first time in a very long while, he felt at peace, not because he had finally been recognized, but because he understood something far more important. A person's true value has never depended on someone else's opinion, and that realization was the greatest victory of all. Before you go, take a moment to think about this story. How many people are judged every day simply because their success looks different from what others expect? Ryan spent years being overlooked, underestimated, and treated like he didn't matter. Yet when a life was on the line, titles, wealth, and status meant nothing. Character was what mattered most. If this story touched you, let us know in the comments. Would you have forgiven Ryan's mother? What would you have done in his place? Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more powerful family drama stories with emotional twists and unforgettable life lessons.